it's sort of shocking because you're not used to seeing some places without people, because India is also very vibrant like that, right? It's popular for being busy, and it's popular for being crowded and bustling. And when you see empty streets, it is very disheartening for sure.
Today on Dirty Linen, we're speaking to a really great friend of Australia, Saransh Goila. He's an Indian chef, he's the street food expert, and he made a lot of friends when he came to Australia a couple of years ago. He was on MasterChef, he made his famous butter chicken, and it really took Melbourne by storm. Saransh is in Mumbai. My last trip overseas, I hung out with him in that wonderful city. Of course, circumstances today, we find him in a very different position. But Saransh, welcome to Dirty Linen.
Thank you so much for having me over again, if I had to say so.
Yeah, well, I'm really grateful that you've taken the time to talk to us, because I know you are really busy with the whole situation. We do hear news from India here in Australia. A lot of people have really strong connections, but tell us about how things are for you.
So I think India has been fairly in the international press, and people have realized what's happening here, which meant the current wave of the pandemic has hit the country really badly. There's a lot of carnage, to say so. A lot of people are dying. Cases are through the roof. People don't have enough ICU beds. They are literally begging for oxygen. It really seems like we are at war, but with the virus, which we can't see. And of course, it does look like there was we weren't prepped for it. Whether it's the citizens or the government, we can blame either or, but definitely something that we weren't prepped for, and it has really turned into a nightmare, to say so. And yeah, so it leaves us in this tough spot where people have to stand up for themselves. We must all sort of come to the front line and save as many people as possible. It's tricky because it's COVID. You have to still try and save lives while you're sitting at home. You have to try and figure out resources for people who are working on the front line. You have to help friends and family who are in tough spot. And what is happening is, because the wave is so strong, people are falling sick in clusters, which has also created a unique problem of patients who are isolated at home. They are struggling with daily meals, and they are struggling to manage with resources at home as well. So there is that side of the story as well.
Yeah, it's really distressing. How is your close circle, Saransh? How are your family and friends?
I'm very, very thankful that we are all okay. Having said that, this is for my immediate family, which means my parents and my siblings. But I lost my grandfather 2 weeks back to COVID, and two of my best friends lost their moms. So it is like, I don't think so anybody in India is untouched without loss of family or loss of friends. So it's an unfortunate situation. Like, every morning you wake up, you have to really wonder that today I'm hoping that I don't get a call or a WhatsApp that tells me that, you know what, we've lost somebody else. So it's sort of become, as I said, I have never been a part of a war, to say so, but all the films that I've seen, I really know how it feels now, how it feels like to be in a situation where times are so uncertain that you don't know what's going to happen the next morning or next day. And it's unfortunate that we have to even experience this or be in a time like this. But it is what it is, and I think the only way to look at it is that you need to take care of yourself, your family, your mental health, and yet try and rescue and save as many people as you can. So that's where we are currently, and I do feel like Many people in our country have stood up. They have taken the challenge to try and save as many people as possible, and we can only be thankful to them.
Saransh, I'm so sorry about your grandfather and those other people, your friends' mothers. It's so sad. One of the things that people talk about with war is the chaos. This feeling of being in the middle of some kind of storm. You can't see the edges of it. You don't quite know the shape of it. Is that the sort of feeling?
Yeah, I think that is really how it feels like, because it sort of does keep you constantly on edge, and the uncertainty that comes with it. Because I think as humans we are designed to plan for future, to look at life from a long term perspective, and we make plans. Of course, with COVID all across the globe, we saw this. Distress that COVID really changed perception about life generally as well. And a lot of things that were earlier just necessities now have become luxuries, like things like travel or things like, for me as a chef, I used to do a lot of TV shoots. So all of that, of course, is out of the window currently. People are struggling for life, and it really makes you recalculate or reevaluate your life choices and what do you really want to do currently. For instance, I'm a chef, but I haven't made a single dish in the last 20 days because I've been working on trying to collate a list with resources. Makes me sort of realize uh, that it will take a long time for us to come back from this, and some of us might not even come back from it, and we might look at this life very differently.
That's so interesting. So, when you say you've been compiling the list of resources, is this your COVID Meals for India initiative?
Yes. So COVID Meals for India is something that I started about 23 days back. That is when the pandemic sort of reached its peak. The fact that people were crying for oxygen and beds online, there seemed to be cry for help even for patients who were at home, who were saying that where can we get home cooked meals from. Having said that, yes, we have a lot of delivery networks and apps that are relevant in India. But when you are sick and you are at home, whether you have mild or moderate version of COVID, you want simple home cooked meals that can nourish you back to health for the next 15 or 20 days that you're going to be stuck at home. Of course, because of this wave, people are falling sick together, which means entire families, entire blocks, entire building could be falling sick together. It has been happening at a lot of places. Unlike the last time where your friends, family, or neighbors could help you out when you were isolated at home, this time around you don't have that help, which means that you might have to look for help from external resources, and those are the kind of resource lists many people are working on back in India, especially people with influence have been trying to collate these resources. So I realize that my biggest strength is food, and most of my following is from the world of food. So I could technically use that pool to try and assemble a list of home chefs across India who can help within their pin code or state or district to help people out, whether with one meal or two meals or 100 meals, does not matter. But whoever, even if you can help one person out, we started listing them on a Google sheet. That's how it started. Very quickly, I sent out a request on Twitter and Instagram that whoever wants to volunteer to help COVID patients out, please share your details with me, and I'll start putting you on this COVID Meals for India list. It started with about 220 odd people across 10 or 12 cities. And within 2 or 3 days of me starting this list, it reached about 1,000 people across 38 cities. And then we realized that this cannot just be a Google Sheet anymore. We need to converted into a platform, and that a Delhi based tech company called Faster reached out to me, and they were able to make this Google Sheet spreadsheet into a website. So covidmealsforindia.com now is a web portal where, as a COVID patient, you can go and find your city, state, and area and look for a food provider around you. Or as a person who wants to volunteer as a home chef or a kitchen or a restaurant, you can also register yourself on the same web page to help people out, no matter where you are in India. Currently, we are at about 3,500 volunteers now, and about 2.5 to 3 lakh people have already accessed the web page. So it really seems to be a big problem because there is so much traffic on the website. It is a cause of concern in that sense that the more the traffic, it shows that there is more COVID in the country. So, but yeah, that's where we are currently, and what we are doing is we're directly connecting patients to volunteers. So it's saving them time. People can reach out to each other on WhatsApp. We've been able to make a good interface where service providers can register with what kind of meals they are providing. Are they providing it for free, or are they charging a nominal food fee or a delivery fee for it? What timings, what days, how many meals can they provide, etc. So all those details are also now listed on the platform.
It's such a simple idea, but it's so powerful. And I can imagine it's making an enormous difference to people, not only to those who receive, but in such a crisis, I think people also really want to give when they can. So I'm sure it's really meaningful and a really rich experience for those who are able to cook and give out those meals.
Absolutely. I would have never thought that there would be a requirement for a solution like this. As I said, I think it's a product born out of a crisis. And you're right in saying that people who are volunteering, it also helps them mentally. I've had a lot of people who have written messages to me saying that, we were going through depression, or we felt like we will fall into depression. But the fact that we are able to cook these 3 or 4 meals, and we feel like we are being able to nurture somebody back to health, really gives us some peace of mind that, with so much destruction around us, there's also some hope in terms of cooking for someone and, helping somebody nourish back to health. So I think yes, you're right in saying that it's not only helping COVID patients directly, but it's also helping people who actually want to contribute to this, whether monetarily or by using their skill, um, uh, whatever means one can help with works.
Mm. And do you think that are there particular dishes that come up again and again that people are really finding very comforting and nourishing and healing in this situation?
What we've done is that we have, you know, um, made a common messaging on all my social media platforms, which we have made. I've stored it on my profile as a highlight, and we've made a guidebook with all the resources one must have for COVID meals for India. So we've curated guidelines for food or dishes that COVID patients can eat, though there is no COVID diet, and it would be wrong for anyone of us to say that this diet fits any COVID patient, because it is technically a virus, and with viral fever, whatever diet people usually take is what would technically fall under for COVID as well, which means less on oil, less on spices, not spices, low on spiciness, to say so, and food that is easy on your stomach, more water-based vegetables. One of our national dishes is khichdi, which is a one-pot meal, highly nutritious, great combination of protein, carb, fats, vitamins, minerals, fiber. So what we've done is we've assembled this guideline, and we have shared it with people so they can have access to it and they can use it. Unfortunately, because India is such a vast country and so diverse in its cuisine as well, it's difficult to pinpoint at recipes or dishes. So we have given them a ballpark instead, or a guideline.
I think I saw that khichdi on your Instagram the other day. It's that lentil and rice sort of one pot dish. Is that right?
It's got, so khichdi is really the most comforting dish, because it, of course, has two major ingredients that are available all across the country, which is lentil and rice. Technically, this is what our country survives on, no matter which section of the society you come from. And once you add some vegetables and some form of protein comes from the lentil, but you can choose to add some cottage cheese or some chicken, and it sort of becomes very, very wholesome, because, as I said, it packs a great combination of all the nutrients that the body needs to keep you up and going. And it's a great way to bounce back to recovery. In fact, every time I would fall sick as a kid, and I would have, let's say, flu, it would be my go-to dishes, because my mom or dad would rustle a khichdi up whenever I would fall sick. And hence, that will always be the easiest option to suggest to anyone.
Yeah, it's really simple, but I think simple flavors, simple dishes, I think that's what people feel like when they're not well. Saransh, when we were together in Mumbai, we went to eat street food. You know, we walked around these busy streets. So much of the life of Mumbai is on the streets. I mean, can you just sort of paint the picture for us? What is it like now as you move around?
I, of course, tend to step out of house because I have my own restaurant to run, and I do make visits to my kitchen. Honestly, it's a sight that's unforgettable, because one of these days I got to go to Gateway of Mumbai, and it is one of the crowdest, most busiest destinations in Mumbai, and it was empty. Not a single soul there at Gateway of Mumbai. Really, really, it's sort of shocking, because you're not used to seeing some places without people, because India is also very vibrant like that, right? It's popular for being busy, and it's popular for being crowded and bustling. And when you see empty streets, it is very disheartening for sure. Also, it makes a large impact on street food vendors. That community technically thrives on the hustle and bustle of a city. It's a situation where people do run out of work, or small entrepreneurs whose businesses are not functioning because people are not out there on the street. So it also creates a lot of distress in that sense, and hence there are a lot of NGOs and organizations now asking for donations to try and help migrant laborers or dabbawalas in Mumbai, to try and help them with ration kits to make sure that they are not going hungry.
Yeah, that's so sad. I mean, because a lot of people, they don't only work on the street, they more or less live on the street. I think a lot of people don't really have, they don't have a house to go back to, right?
Yeah, that's true. While India has really developed over the last 2 decades, and I do feel like we are still in a much better situation than we could have been possibly in. It could have been worse, especially in Maharashtra. The state government has taken quick steps, and they have worked very, very quickly, especially in this part of the country, to make amends and to help the situation out. And in the last 2 weeks, we have seen a lot of improvement as far as COVID cases go. They have substantially reduced, and things hopefully will start to look up in the next week or so. But having said that, we are a large populated country, and if we get stuck in a situation like we are in now, there has to be devastation. Just with the sheer volume of the number of people that we hold within a city like Mumbai, I think it is catastrophic, and hence we are where we are currently. It would have been nicer if we were not in a situation like this, but this variant of COVID has really taken us back.
Mm. I mean, you mentioned, you've got to, or everyone has to, look after those closest to them and look after their mental health. Like, I can hear how sort of energized you are by the good work that you're doing, but it also must be just really distressing and exhausting. Like, how are you?
Honestly, I take every day as it comes. It is, as I said, every day is unique. In this case, no one day is the same. I have, as I said, I've been very focused to try and help people with COVID meals for India, because I feel it also helps me in a way. You know how people are saying that we are cooking those three meals to keep our mental sanity. And I think I am also running COVID meals for India for the same reason. That it makes me feel that yes, while I am stuck at home, I can still help my community out. I can still help people who are ill at home, and it sort of gives me some form of ease and mental peace. But mostly, I feel terrible because it's not the one journalist asked me a question that what is the future of COVID meals for India, and I told her I don't want a future for COVID meals for India, because to think of the fact that we will need COVID meals for India 3 months down the line means there's still a lot of COVID out there, and there's still a lot of devastation. So I told her that I would be the happiest if we have to shut this website in 3 months, because that means that this service is not needed anymore, and we don't have and this wave can leave us. But yeah, so most days, as I said, are not so bright. Having said that, I think hope and energy and positivity are the only way you can really help other people out as well. So I try and keep my sanity as much as I can.
Saransh, what's the state of play with vaccinations there?
So we are currently, because of the fear that this wave has created, a lot of people are panicking, and they are all lining up for vaccinations, which has also created a shortage for vaccinations. I must say that now with this wave, people have become extra careful. The government has become extra careful with vaccination centers, which means that before this wave, even vaccination centers were proving to be super spreaders, because people weren't maintaining social distancing there, and some people weren't masking up properly. So it became a large problem. But now, with so much panic, and people have seen what has happened, people are being extremely careful. Government is being extremely careful. So vaccinations are going on. But I think, as I said, we are also running out of vaccines very soon. They had started vaccinations for the age bracket of 18 to 44 recently. Previously, it was only for 45 and above age group, but now they had 2 weeks back they had launched vaccinations for people between 18 to 45. But just about yesterday they had to halt it again, because we are seeing a shortfall in vaccinations. So we're hoping that we can meet the demand. But considering that India is such a large country, I think to be fully vaccinated, we're at least 18 months away. But for immediate healthcare workers and people working day and night in the hospitals, they are all vaccinated.
Okay. It's so devastatingly ironic that vaccination centres would become super spreader events. That's just terrible.
Yeah, as in, I think none of us would have realized that, but because now the recent WHO guideline is that it is fully airborne, and especially this mutant, so which changes everything, right? Because when it's fully airborne, that means that double masking was never a norm earlier. It became a norm recently after they realized that how is it spreading so quickly. That was a question that was answered recently, that it is fully airborne. And I think none of us, including me, if I had to say so, like, I was, until the last month, I was going to my kitchen, but I was not double masking. It's only in these last 30 days that we've realized that, you know what, it can get you even when you are outside your own home, picking up a delivery from your security gate. In that transit also you can get COVID. So which means you have to double mask, no matter where you are going, the moment you step out of your house. And because it's airborne, you have to be extra careful. So unfortunately, this happened to us while people are also going for their vaccinations, and yeah, vaccination centers also became super spreaders to a certain extent. So that's, it's just unfortunate.
I don't think anyone in Australia has heard of double masking. I mean, we're very lucky there's no virus in the community here, but when we were masked, yeah, we were all in single masks. But
As I said, COVID also comes with its own challenges, right? It's a virus that keeps evolving. And I think people were anyway exhausted from the last year, and they were hoping that the pandemic is behind them, and people were just had started to get back to their regular lives. But with this variant, I think it has taken everyone a step back. And yeah, as you said, double masking is something that I would have never thought of doing, but here we are, and we must deal with it. So yeah, it's terrible, but now we are already in it, and we must save what we have left. Is really the situation that we are in currently.
Saransh, what would you say to people in Australia about the situation in India? What would you like us to know?
I would actually want people to be aware that it's lessons that we can learn from each other. I think what we should have learned from what happened in Italy last year was to be fully prepped and ready if a situation like this hits our country as well. But I think citizens and the government both were too lax, and they figured that this variant of corona is going to leave us, and it's a story of the past, is what everybody started thinking. And as I said, including me, it's not like I'm blaming someone else. And the lesson to be learned out of this is that corona is here to stay. COVID is never going to leave us. It seems like, unless we are able to do enough research on how it's going to mutate. Maybe there are booster vaccination shots we need to take every year or 2 years. But one thing that we realize is that this virus evolves, which means that you have to, at any given point in time, be aware of your surroundings. You have to mask up when you're going out. To believe that it's not going to spread from a party of 100 people, or from clubbing, or from social gatherings would be a mistake if you are not following the COVID protocol. So I would say that please be wary and maintain social distancing, and don't think of COVID as a thing that is the thing of the past. I think it's here. It's very, very alive, and it somehow makes it to your country. It leaves it has left no part of this continent untouched. Even when this other variant hit UK, in India, people were like, what, COVID has already hit us, but here we are with another variant, and now people fear that this variant could travel to other continents. So it keeps mutating, and hence we must realize that it is here to stay with us unless we fully research as to what COVID is, and how long will it mutate. So we should really be careful and not let go of what we learned last year, is what I would say.
Yeah, really timely words. Saransh, can we donate from here to COVID Meals for India?
So you can't directly donate to COVID Meals for India because, as I said, these are individual people who are trying to help the community. But we have listed two organizations on covidmealsforindia.com, which is Feeding from Far and Enrich Lives Foundation. These two organizations are helping people who are the migrant laborers who were working in Mumbai and are out of jobs and are looking to just survive currently. So, one way of supporting people is to help them with COVID meals, but the other is to actually support people who have no meals because they will die of hunger otherwise. And hence, the easiest would be to go to covidmealsforindia.com and you can choose and pick either Enrich or Feeding from Far. Both are legit, verified, and they are doing some incredible work, which means that if you were to donate about 50 Australian dollars, you could be feeding a family of 5 for an entire month. So it makes a big difference. That's all it takes to help a family out.
Amazing. Saransh, congratulations on what you're doing. I'm sorry that the circumstances are so dreadful. I wish you strength and comforting food, and I hope the corner turns soon and India can start to recover.
Yeah, and thank you. Thank you so much for spreading the word about COVID Meals for India, Honey. And I really hope that there is a time again where we could probably, go out in on the streets of Mumbai and grab a street snack again. It seems like a far-fetched dream as of now, but as I said, that tiny bit of hope I still have.
Yes, we have to keep dreaming, and I'm sure it will happen one day. You stay safe, all right?
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Take care. This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about. We spend a week thrashing around each issue, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinenat.deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
This